First round of the Champions Cup 2024-2025 is in the bag, folks. Pretty stormy weather up in Europe, seemingly. A lot of the games pretty adversely affected by a lot of rain and some pretty strong winds, although I guess the fact that all the games got played and none of them got called off due to the weather is probably a positive to take. It did look nice and sunny down South Africa, though. The Clermont game didn't look too bad on camera, but yes, certainly a bit of a mess in terms of the weather this weekend in many of the games, and quite a few cards, especially, well, Stade Francais certainly got a couple of pretty bad ones, and top 14 sides generally did pretty well. I think 6 of their 8 sides managed to pick up wins. We'll go through the games pretty quick, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on what were the kind of main takeaways from this round. Bath and La Rochelle got us underway. La Rochelle have not been in their kind of finest form in the top 14, but managed to get an away win at Bath, who've been doing pretty well in the Premiership, so that's a big result for those lads. It's kind of a game of two halves, cliche as it is true. 3 tries in the first half from La Rochelle, 2 in the second half from Bath, but 24-20. Bath gets a losing bonus point, but they would have liked to do better at home for sure. And the Premiership teams, to be fair, only 2 of the 8 teams got wins. So they would have liked to certainly pick up one to put in a better showing for the Premiership teams, but La Rochelle coming to town. I mentioned it the other day, they are one of the sides that has been kind of one of the constants in the recent years of Champions Cup, making the finals, winning the thing, being there or thereabouts, basically. So there's no real shame in losing to them, but at home, you would have liked to get it done. Losing bonus point for Bath, no bonus point for La Rochelle. They would have liked to have got one, having scored 3 tries in the first half, but kept tryless in the second. Clermont in the second game got underway. The top 14 side of things in terms of the home sides. Clermont 28-0, bonus point win over Benetton. 2 tries to Yato, 2 tries to Massa. They got some pretty good close range ones. Mauls and close range forward tries. I only watched the highlights of that one. A bit sad for Benetton to be kept scoreless, but Tisserand was a proper tackling machine, putting in dominant hits. And yeah, what can you say? It's a good win for Clermont. Not very good for Benetton, whose form in recent years has kind of been something of a yo-yo. This is one of their more kind of downward moments. The Sharks against Exeter was nice to see. A very nice day on camera. Had a lot of cards kind of towards the end of the game. But the Sharks 39, Exeter 21. And some bloody nice tries. Like if you wanted to see kind of highlight reel worthy tries, especially some of the Sharks tries, like the hands for the Buthelezi try to kick us off. Grant Williams got one, Mapimpi got one, Khaleesi bagged a couple. I mean, Frost got 2 for Exeter and Faber also got 1. So 3 tries, 1 away from the bonus point for the Exeter lads, but not to be, despite the kind of cards towards the end of the game. There were a couple of tries from loose lineouts, to be fair, so a little bit, well, a couple of scrappy ones, but yeah, ultimately that one seemed like pretty good entertainment value. Northampton against Castres. Castres are one of those sides that doesn't opt to really field a strong side in the Champions Cup, so they kind of let the top 14 sides down, but they have their focus on the top 14, so it's kind of no surprise they got beaten by the reigning Premiership champions Northampton 38-8. Tries to Dingwall, Mayavanua, Augustus bagged a couple, Langdon and Pollock. I liked Augustus's first one where they kind of shifted the ball out wide to him out on the wing from a quick play. It was pretty nice. Castres got 1 in return, but it was interesting. They were one of the few sides that were opting for 3s in a weekend where kicking for goals was tough to do. But as I said, there's no real shock about that result given that Castres don't really have their priorities in the Champions Cup. So good bonus point win for Northampton. Toulon got the second of the away wins for the top 14 boys when they went down to Cape Town and got a win over the Stormers. The Stormers are a bit disappointing. I mean, they started all right. Galant scored a cracker. Dweber put them in a lead at half-time with a try from close range, but yeah, there were a couple of second half tries to Issa and Serran. One of them where Libok got absolutely smashed by Villiers, turnover ball, and Toulon were able to pounce. Villiers got one at the start of the game, to be fair, where he just had his fingertips on it to get it down. But yeah, also a bunch of cards in that one, including a red card for Toulon towards the end of the game, but it was only in the final 10 minutes, so it wasn't really kind of as much of an impact on the game as if it had been early. But yeah, disappointment for the Stormers to go through a whole half of rugby at home and not score any points. Munster and Stade Francais, as I mentioned, there were a couple of red cards in that one with Stade Francais. Both of their locks getting red cards within a couple of minutes of each other. That was pretty disappointing. Abrahams for Munster looks really sharp. He looks like a heck of a signing out on the left wing. He got man of the match. He got a try. Daly, Kendall, and Tom Farrell and Coombs also got tries. So it is a bonus point win for Munster. It was pretty ugly at times, but once they got going, the Munster boys looked good. They had a real kind of nice period of play where they started to click. Although once they were up 2 men, Stade Francais ended up having a lot of ball, so it didn't seem to affect them too much in being able to retain the pill, but they were only able to crack the Munster line once. So from a Munster point of view, that's a great way to kick off the Champions Cup campaign. Saracens and the Bulls, 27-5. The Bulls scored first, but that was their only try through de Klerk on 11 minutes. The rest came from the Saracens forwards. You got Reece Carey, Jamie George, Willis got one, and then Earl maybe scored the try of the game on the 65th minute with a real wingers finish. 65 minutes for the bonus point. It was 8-5 at halftime. Bulls also had yellow cards, so there was a lot of cards this weekend. But yeah, Saracens in the second half certainly took that game away. Glasgow and Sale. Glasgow with a bit of a point to prove, being the URC champions, proved that point pretty well, 38 points to 19. I mean, compared to the Saracens game, where it was, apart from de Klerk's try, it was all the forwards. This game had a bunch of backs getting tries. George Horn bagged a hat-trick. The third one of his, Jamie Batty, with the kind of half line break and weak goose step, and then support line from George Horn was a thing of beauty. Rowe got one, Hugh Jones got one, and then one of the forwards got one through Cummings in the second half. So a lot of first half points in this game compared to some of the other games. So 33-12 at halftime, finishes 38-19. So yeah, a lot of first half scoring. Penalty try, Reed and Carpenter get the try for the Sale boys. So again, 3 tries, not enough for a bonus point from them. But yeah, Glasgow I think will be pretty happy with that way to start their Champions Cup campaign. Racing and Harlequins, no 4-try bonus point for either side in this one. No losing bonus point for Harlequins either, with it 23-12. Ligarek, Natuvi and Spring. So all backs getting the tries for the Racing boys. Don Brandt scored a nice one where he powered over to give them the lead at the start of the game, and Porter got one on 44 minutes. But yeah, a couple cards again. No bonus points. It's a kind of pretty, I guess, predictable result without being kind of outlandish in terms of the scoreline. Bordeaux and Leicester, that's maybe the game of the round. That's a huge score, 42-28. The first half was genuinely proper tit for tat. Samu got a one in reply to the Wells try, literally a minute after. Bassett got one. Petty got one for Bordeaux. Yeah, it was crazy. Louis Bielbiere got a couple. He still shows that he can chase kicks like nobody else. Second half is really where the game gets taken away from Leicester because they only scored the one try in the second half. But it was enough when Parise went over from very close range to get them at least a 4-try bonus point. I guess they deserve that given the way that game went. But Bordeaux will certainly take a home win with a bonus point to start the campaign. Toulouse and Ulster, man, Toulouse put in a real warning shot to everybody that they are going to be tough once again this campaign. 9 tries against Ulster. Ulster again, 3 tries, not quite enough for a 4-try bonus point. But wow, 61-21, Dupont on fire again. Lebel gets a try, Intermac, Miafu gets a couple, Capuozzo gets a couple, Dupont gets one himself, Chocobates is a penalty try. Toulouse are a magic side to watch. And Ulster's a pretty good side in the URC, but man, away from home, they got smashed. What can you say? Toulouse is a hard team to go to and try to come away with anything. The fact they were 1 try away from not losing bonus point, but a 4-try bonus point is at least something. Not every side can score 21 points away from home at Toulouse. And the final one, Bristol against Leinster. I watched that one this morning over here in New Zealand, right before I dropped my kids at school. A bit of an ugly game. Again, rough conditions, but the first half was pretty dire. The ref, a lot of collapsed scrums and a lot of nonsense going on in that game, to be fair. But there was this real good purple patch for Leinster where they scored on the 53rd, 58th, 56th and 64th minute. That's 4 of their 5 tries. Came within that really kind of just over 10-minute period, just the 2 tries for Bristol. So, yeah, it's not a bad way for Leinster to start their campaign. But that match for large periods left a fair bit to be desired, especially the first half. If you were going to watch halves of games, you should watch second half of Leinster and Bristol, and maybe like first half of Glasgow and Sale, I guess, because there was plenty of action on in those. So yeah, the top 14 boys go 6 from 8. The URC is, I think, 4 out of 8, and the Premiership's 2 out of 8. So yeah, top 14 flying the flag for French rugby at the moment. Next week's games: Sale against Racing. Sale being at home, bit of pressure on them after dropping their first game. Castres and Munster. I'll be curious to see what side Castres decide to field. I think at home there's a little bit more expectation that you don't just field a B-side. Bulls and Northampton. Hopefully some fine weather down in Pretoria. Ulster and Bordeaux. Bit of pressure on Ulster after that big loss, and I'll be looking with how many points Bordeaux put on Leicester. Harlequins Stormers should be a pretty interesting one. Stormers will have to fly up from South Africa. La Rochelle against Bristol. Geez, it doesn't get any easier for Bristol. You start your campaign with Leinster, just to be followed by La Rochelle. Stade Francais against Saracens. Benetton against Bath. So two of the losing sides, Benetton and Bath, need a win. And Toulon against Glasgow. Exeter against Toulouse. So heaps of rugby on. I try to catch as much as I can, but it is rather a lot of rugby for one weekend. But certainly it's good to see these sides in action that we don't always get to see play each other. You guys let us know your thoughts on the games of the weekend. Which was your game of the round? What do you think will happen next week? Can you see the top 14 sides performing the same second weekend as the Premiership lagging a bit behind? You guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.